Welcome back, my Vibrant Beauties. Welcome if you're new. Sitting up here resting my hands where they should not be. I want to talk about microblading for dark skin. If you don't know, got microbladed, had microblading and shading done. And of course right now my eyebrows are a little bit filled in, not too much, but I got them done. I love them, and I want to give you some tips and tricks about microblading on dark skin. And if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes. So microblading is basically a semi-permanent tattoo per se. So they're depositing ink into your brows in the form of brow strokes or brow hairs so that it can mimic the appearance of brows, like you have a full brow. And for darker skin, it's kind of a harder situation because the pigments don't really, because our skin is so melanated that it doesn't really show up. So my first tip to you all would be, make sure this is what you want. Not only in the terms of you make sure it's microblading against shading, or microblading with shading, or microblading with ombre, or ombre by itself, whatever. Make sure this is what you want, because it is pretty expensive. And the procedure I'm going to tell you, the person that did the tech that did my microblading and shading, she's phenomenal. She teaches classes everywhere. She's just amazing. The total amount that I spent on my brows was $525. Okay, so that's why I said this can get pretty expensive. It ranges from $450 to about, I've seen some prices when I was doing my research, $700 and something dollars. So make sure this is what you want. Like, make sure you're willing to spend this money. Make sure, because it's not going to come off. It's going to fade over time, but it's not going to come off. Just to let you know. And you will be spending your money. So tip number 2, do your research. Research. The reason why I say research is because there are a lot of people now in the beauty industry that actually does microblading, but you want to research and make sure they do microblading on darker skin or deeper skin tones, because if all they have are a lighter or fair skin, they know how to do that because the pigment shows up better. But you want to make sure that the tech has the skill, not just skill, but knows exactly what he or she is doing in order to give you the brow that you want, because ultimately you're paying for your brows. So research. I researched from, I want to say, September until I got them into the end of February, because I was just like, I went online, I went to their Instagram page, I went to their Facebook page, I went to see if they had a website. I was just like looking at all of the photos and the customer testimonials, and just making sure that they did my skin tone or someone around my skin tone in order for me to feel comfortable that they can do this procedure with no problem. So do your research. That's my tip number 2. Tip number 3, make a budget. So as I said, my procedure cost $525. It was $450, I believe, to get the microblading itself done, and then I added on the shading because I want shading on the tail, and then microblading towards the front of the brow because it gives off the illusion that I have a full brow. Brows, like microblading in the front gives off brow strokes, and then the shading gives like a full tail situation in the back. So make a budget of how much you are willing to pay. Granted, a lot of base microblading starts in the 400 or 300. I have to look that up again, but they start pretty high. So if you're going to do it, regardless, it's going to be expensive, but make sure this is what you want to spend. Tip number 4. Know what style of brow you want. Like I said, I got the microblading and shading because that's how, when I used to do my brows before, and I'll show a before and after picture of how I looked, I would fill in my brows and create brow strokes in the front of my hairs and then deepen it on the end. So if you go in, they're going to give you like different brow types, and you just choose. You can make, like I said, you can mix and match. If you have a fuller brow already, you can do just microblading. If you don't have any brow at all, a lot of texts will suggest shading or ombre, and that is because you don't have any hair, so there's nothing for pigment to stick onto. There's nothing to give the illusion that you have a fuller brow because you don't have any. And my hairs were very, very sparse, like, but I believe the mix of the two gave it exactly what I wanted, if that makes sense. Tip number 5, have a picture on hand of how you do your brows. I can't stress this enough. How you want your brows to be is what you need to have a picture of when you walk in there. Because the tech that I had, she did ask, how do I normally do my brows? And I show her pictures, and she got them fairly close. I mean, nothing is ever going to be perfect. Your eyebrows are not twins, they are sisters. Sometimes, you know, depending on the day, it's distant cousins, but still, have a picture of how you normally do your brows, or how you want your brows to be if you don't normally do them that way, and go for it. Yeah. Okay. Tip number 6, be very thorough with the tech. Like I said, because of deeper skin tones like ours or mine, you have to really look and see. Once she's in the process, even the beginning, she shapes them out, or he or she shapes them out, and they use like a stencil type of pencil. I don't know how to explain it, but they map them out, and the map is so on point, but be careful because the underlying is not where the line is going to be. It's going to be between those lines, so it may look like a smaller brow. But be very thorough once the tech does the outline of your brow. Make sure that is exactly how thick, how skinny, how full, how whatever it is that you want it, the shape. Tip number 7, once the procedure, the initial procedure, because there's 2 procedures. When you're doing microblading, you go in for the initial procedure, and this is to outline your brows, get the initial shape, get the initial pigment. They will fade after 4 weeks. They will fade on the initial procedure. That's when you go in for the second procedure after 4 weeks, and they fill in more and get them to the exact brow shape you want and the color. my tech asked me if I want to go deeper in color or if I want to stay where I was. And honestly, I stayed where I was because I love the look of a more grayish tone brow. And like I said, I didn't do any deepening of these I just used a color pencil or a brow pencil that was the same exact of the microblading to shade them in. But once that initial procedure is complete, make sure you follow the directions, the skincare directions. For our melanated sisters, for my melanated sisters, the darker skinned sisters, I'm trying to tell you, because the pigment does not adhere to our skin as easily as others, please do not use harsh chemicals on your skin. No harsh cleansers. Use sensitive cleansers. I'm a licensed esthetician, so I know what to use on my skin and what not to use, but I generally use sensitive products anyway. But what I used was the Used to the People spinach and kale cleanser, which is a really good sensitive cleanser for your face. Just be careful not to get water on your brows. You can get water on your brows, but you can't leave them there because the pigment will come off. Please follow the directions. Do not peel off your eyebrows. Do not peel off the scabbing, because there will be scabbing. It's just like getting a tattoo. If you've ever gotten a tattoo, it starts to heal, and once it's healing, it's peeling. And like I said, I can't stress this enough, because we are darker skin, the pigment does not adhere or seep into our skin like fairer skinned people. So please do not peel off anything at all whatsoever, because you're going to have issues. And then you're going to be mad that the tech didn't do her job and you paid all this money when in reality it was your fault. I'm just saying. Before the initial procedure, the tech will numb you, and how they numb you, my tech, she used kind of what they use at the dentist office to numb you before they either like clean your teeth or whatever. So the microblading does feel a little bit like scraping. You're not going to feel it once the numbing cream is on, but you will feel that, you will hear it, and that's worse. Just to let you know, that's really worse. But the tech will numb you, and then she'll do the procedure afterwards. So she'll numb you for about a good 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes before starting the procedure. And for me, with the shading, there was a tattoo gun basically, but it's not tattoo ink, if that makes sense. And then the microblading portion on the front of my brow, it was a microblade that deposited ink every time she pressed it into my skin, and it was scraping the ink into it. That's why I said with the scraping sound. My tip to go along with this, tip number 7: establish a skincare routine before your procedure. Your skin needs a while to reap the benefits of a skincare routine. And if you do not have one, I know a friend of mine, she does not have one, but I would recommend it. And I know a lot of people they say they're sensitive, and I get it, because I've had sensitive skin. My skin is sensitive when it wants to be. Find a skincare regimen that works for you. I would suggest the Used to the People spinach and kale cleanser, unless you're allergic to spinach or kale. You can look up the ingredients online. I got mine from Sephora. Also, a good toner will balance the oils in your skin. I don't care about the balance of the pH, but if you're oily all the time and it's like crazily like wow, a toner to balance out the oils in your skin. A good one would be even a household toner. Apple cider vinegar. Great at balancing the oils in your skin, to where you end up having normal skin. Carbon therapy. If you have loads and loads and loads of breakouts, carbon therapy is really good at balancing and controlling the acne. So I will use that. Now, if you're looking for an inexpensive cleanser, I would say something like Simple would work. If you're allergic to the ingredients in Simple, something like Cetaphil or Purpose Soap would work. But yeah, and then a good moisturizer. I use a very inexpensive moisturizer. It is the Ordinary Rosehip Seed Oil. Is pure rosehip seed oil, cold press, and that's what I use for moisturizer. I also use their hyaluronic acid. And then for sunscreen, because you're going to need sunscreen regardless of what's going on in your life. Especially, don't think because we are brown skin that you do not need sunscreen, because we get sun damage just as much. Don't let them fool you into thinking that you don't need sunscreen because you're dark. No, ma'am. I'm going to need you to get it together and put on some sunscreen. I use Supergoop Unseen Sunscreen, which is like the best sunscreen in my opinion, hands down. I will never stop using them. I can put it on. It's like a gel silicone. I don't even know how to explain it. You don't see it. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't give you flashback. It doesn't do anything. It's the best sunscreen, and it's SPF 40. Hands to God. I love it. Tip number 9. Understand that the second procedure will be the final procedure and will really shape your brow. Okay? Like I said, you have an initial procedure that starts the process that will fade. So you're going to be frustrated. I was really frustrated. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was so frustrated. But I know you have to trust the process. And look at my brows now. I'll show you pictures, of course. Or the thumbnail will be that. Either way, you'll see the difference. And I love them. Last tip. And I've stressed this a lot throughout the entire video. Brown skin girls are my melanated people, not even just girls, people. It is so hard for the pigmentation to adhere to your skin. So make sure you're following every step possible that the technician gives you. You're paying your money. You want to see the best results for you. Make sure you are following the instructions. Use sensitive skin products. Use good toners that doesn't strip away anything on your brows. Don't get too close to your brows. Use a good moisturizer. Like I said, I use the Ordinary hyaluronic acid and 100% cold pressed rosehip seed oil, and those are inexpensive. I think the rosehip seed oil is like $9.80 at Ulta, and then the hyaluronic acid is like $6 or $7. Get those, and then get a good sunscreen. I don't know of any drugstore. Like I said, I'm very partial and very biased because I love the Supergoop Unseen Sunscreen. But follow these steps that they give you, people. Please follow these steps, because it will make sure or ensure that your eyebrows stay for the longevity of everything. I love my eyebrows. I love them. It's been officially about 3 months since I've had them on, and I hope I can stay and have them on for the full 18 months. If not, of course, I'm going to go back and get them done again, because girl, honey, I love them. That was the one insecurity I had about myself. And I was, now she's secure, boo. Boom. Ain't gotta draw on nothing. Ain't gotta do nothing. So my dark skin, my brown skin, melanated people, follow the directions. I hope these tips helped you out. If they did, leave a comment, a like, a share, and a subscription if you can. If you can't, I understand. You need a couple of more. You know, I'm fun to be around. Just come. I'm just saying. But leave that below and let me know what you all think. I will leave any links below to what I'm talking about. I'll leave my technician's Instagram page below. So with that being said, I'm Letty and I'm out. Peace.